the way to efficient growth for your business today is not through sending more campaigns on already tired channels. Yeah. It's not a more campaigns problem, it's a data problem. Yeah. And if you get your data house in order, that's going to allow you to make intelligent decisions about who to engage, when to engage them. It's going to probably reduce your audience sizes, but increase the conversion.
Welcome to Content Kingdom. This is your backstage pass to the people, tools, and the trends shaping the future of content marketing.
And welcome to another episode of Content Kingdom. I'm your host, David G. Ewing. We are doing our special In the Wild episodes, and we are in a place that is absolutely wild still, Las Vegas, for Oracle AI World. And with me is Stephen Streich. Stephen, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here. It is always wild in Las Vegas and tiring at times, but I'm very happy to be here.
Now, Stephen, you and I have known each other for years. Why don't you tell our audience what it is that you do for Oracle these days?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am the Group Vice President of Product Management for all the marketing applications at Oracle. So that includes our customer data platform, our orchestration engines, Eloqua and Responses, as well as some brand new capabilities that we've been talking a lot about this week that we've built on top of our Unity database, or Unity data platform, to do marketing orchestration natively right in the CDP.
All right. Now, before we get to that, which I'm excited to talk about, I want to know a little bit about you. So how did you get here, man? Like, how does somebody get to
the
that
elevator, 48 floors?
Yeah, no. That's it. Yeah, 48 floors. It's very simple.
Very simple. No, I've always been in product management, even though my academic background was economics and political science. And then I actually taught English in Korea for a year.
Really?
But then I always had an affinity for technology, and I kind of settled into a product management role, and product management was still pretty new. Okay. I don't want to date myself too much, but I started working for a supply chain planning company. I'm from Canada. I live in Toronto. Okay. That company got bought by JD Edwards, and then JD Edwards got bought by PeopleSoft. And then PeopleSoft was taken over hostilely by Oracle. Okay. I stayed for about 3 or 4 more years, and then I joined a startup in Toronto called Eloqua.
Oh, yeah.
Late 2007.
Yeah.
I think we were maybe about 60 or 70 people at the time. And then through 2013, we kind of rebuilt it a lot. In 2013, Oracle acquired us.
Yeah, Oracle
so second time around the sun at Oracle, we acquired Responses a year later to kind of build out more of the direct-to-consumer B2C side of it. We built Unity from the ground up on Oracle Cloud infrastructure. But it is just in the last year and a half, we've actually re-platformed Unity and rebuilt a lot of the core services directly as part of Fusion. Okay. So if you're a Fusion customer, of which there's 15, 16,000 of them in the back office, and you are interested and you have data platform use cases, that'll get provisioned right in your instance of Fusion. Okay. So
let's unpack that for a minute, because I want people to really understand it. And so it took me a while to really understand what Unity is. Yeah. So let's start with the lay definition of Unity.
So I think that the space has become quite confusing. So CDP is the general acronym, Customer Data Platform. Yep. But that space has become complicated because much like it happened with ABM and much like it's happened with personalization, once there became a critical mass for a particular market that Forrester and Gartner and IDC are following, and CMOs are thinking, do I need this thing? Suddenly everybody's a CDP. Yeah. If you're
an AI CDP nonetheless.
Yeah, yes. An AI CDP now. If you were a web analytics vendor suddenly, or a tag management vendor, suddenly you're a CDP. Mm-hmm. If you were master data management, now you're a CDP. But I think the simple definition of it is basically it is a platform that is designed to take data in from multiple sources and different identities, so it can be behavioral data from the web, like web events that are being captured, cookies, mobile address IDs, or first-party data like email addresses, phone numbers, household information, and account data too. Very importantly, we've built our customer data platform to really support B2B use cases and the complexity of things like complex account hierarchies and who owns what contracts where and what do your product hierarchies look like. You bring all that data in, and then you do identity resolution, and you master it. And you make that data available for interrogation, audience analysis, and activation. The big part here is that it's real-time access to the data. So if I want to personalize a website, when somebody hits, that can happen in real time. We can send events that explain who this person is or what account they're coming from or what campaign it is and how to personalize the website. You can build audiences to trigger multi-channel campaigns, SMS, email, whatsoever. And you can run data science models and get intelligent insights. So really built for activation and delivering that data in batch or real time to other destinations.
I think that's really interesting. And so this is how I started to understand it is the amount of data that can be acquired about me by, let's say, my cell phone company is enormous.
Yeah.
It's not a lot more than just like, this is David G. Ewing and he lives at this address and this is his phone number, right? Like that's just the start, right? They can find out my date of birth and they can get that stuff, right? But then, have I been into their store? Do I have a business? Does my business have an account? How many minutes do I use? Have I been to their website? When was the last time I logged into their portal? How's my credit? Like, we are now looking at like all these different dimensions of a single consumer.
Are you a prepaid SIM user or what kind of a plan are you on?
Yeah.
Should we look at bundling your services with the cable that we're also, and the internet? And
yes, so what
kind
products?
What kind of products? And, exactly.
So you take one customer and all of a sudden you realize that without a CDP, there's just no way this data can all be brought together to say, I want to know everyone who's been into my store in Las Vegas, who has more than 1,000 minutes of usage in a month, who also has a business and lives in the state of Maryland.
Right.
Like, you couldn't do that without a CDP, right? So
it would be very difficult
or
very time consuming. One of the things that we talked about in the CX keynote today was how a traditional, whether it's understanding a household or a more complex B2B selling process, if you want to put together a marketing program that has an objective of cross-selling a new service or a new product into an install base, you would start with, who's my audience going to be? What's the offer going to be? What tactics should I use from a marketing perspective? Do I know the right people in the right, if it's B2B, do I actually know the people who will be the influencers and the decision makers and the ratifiers? And we actually have the ability to model and build buying groups within the CDP. And if you don't, how are we going to reach out and find those people? And in order to do that properly and not just be kind of spraying and praying and sending a whole bunch of non-contextually relevant messages to people, you need access to not just CRM type data, but contracts and subscriptions, and that lives in your ERP system. It lives in your service system. What is the customer health? Do they pay their bills on time? Are they happy? All of that comes to bear in the customer data platform to make intelligent decisions of that nature. And so it's not where there's common confusion is, well, what's the difference between that and master data management? I mean, master data management or CDM is really about getting your transactional data house in order and making sure your account records are all like properly hierarchically intact. And you can resolve the complexity of many accounts together. A CDP is about interrogating that data, building models on that data, and actioning on that data in real time.
Got it. And I think that's where marketers can now really start to have, starting with that as their foundation, they can really go crazy with personalization, right? Hitting people with the right message at the right time, and really coming up with compelling offers and then seeing what works, right?
And importantly, knowing what not to do. Who not to reach out to, because there's so much money spent on in advertising and CPMs on outreach that's never going to go anywhere. It's never going to be relevant. And one of the things I've just been thinking of over the last week or so, because I've been talking so much about how the context of the engagement is so important. Because otherwise, traditional channels are oversaturated. People are not paying attention to them. Traffic patterns are changing. People are getting their questions asked and answered in large language models. It's not that the source to a website is now ChatGPT. The traffic is going away, and the answers are being done in ChatGPT itself, or Perplexity, or whatever the case might be. So you need to cut through that noise. You need to be as relevant as possible, and you do that by being helpful and contextually relevant. So I've been saying context is the new personalization. if that makes sense.
Yeah, so help a chief marketing officer understand that. Like, what are some of the things that they need to be doing now in order to make the transition, make this turn, and not get left behind?
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe this sounds like a bit of an old saw, but the way to efficient growth for your business today is not through sending more campaigns on already tired channels.
Yeah.
It's not a more campaigns problem, it's a data problem.
Okay.
And if you get your data house in order, that's going to allow you to make intelligent decisions about who to engage, when to engage them. It's going to probably reduce your audience sizes, but increase the conversion, which has it helps you in both ways. You're spending less and you're converting more. This can make people uncomfortable depending on how teams are measured.
Yeah.
If your marketing organization is still measured on generating qualified leads, this may not, you should look at that as well.
Okay.
Because marketing should be aligned with sales on, our goal is to drive revenue for the company. Really, our goal is to make customers satisfied, because that will drive revenue for the company.
Right, yep.
And not be measured on vanity metrics like MQLs, where sales doesn't know what to do with this. They're going to retire it and open their own opportunity. The connective tissue is now lost. And sales really doesn't know why was it qualified as an opportunity in the first place.
Right.
Getting your data house in order and understanding everything about your customers, from a B2C perspective, what is their household income, where do they live, what are their buying patterns, what categories they typically purchase in, what is their propensity for certain products, do they have products and services from you that are expiring or warranties that are expiring, when was the last time the car was in the dealership. All of those bits and pieces of information give you life cycle events where the outreach makes sense. We have a large customer in the Middle East, and there's a lot of conglomerates over there, right? Where they own a newspaper, they own real estate, they own car dealerships, and they bring all of this data together because with all of that information, they can track a lot of different lifestyle events.
Yeah.
They can say, well, if you just got married, and you just bought a house, or you just moved to the city because you just bought a property, you're probably going to need a car. You're probably going to need a bank loan. So that's the kind of stuff that you can start.
A quick aside, there's a really funny story about Target doing this several years ago.
Oh, the diapers?
The diapers,
Yeah.
yes, you know about this. So the idea that you can predict when someone's going to need diapers because they're pregnant because of their buying cycles, and they start sending that to a household where dad has a teenage daughter, and it's like, what do you mean, why are you sending things to my, and then finds out the daughter's pregnant, right?
That's a real story, apparently.
Whoops, yeah, that's a real story. And so, we got to make sure we don't go into that territory,
and on the B2B side, it's, you don't want to over focus on, you don't want tricky subject lines to create fake engagement.
Right.
Right. What you need to be doing is looking for the customers who are actually going to be good long-term customers for you, where they likely have the problem that you solve and that your solution will deliver real value for them, and then you'll grow together. So
you're hitting on something that has been the topic of the show. That's not, when people aren't talking about AI, this is AI world, so we're talking about AI. But the other half of this is, with so much AI generated content, with so much AI generated behaviors and agentic things, what people are getting defensive, and people are losing trust, right? Because can I trust that that's a real image? Can I trust that that's a real message? Can I trust I'm talking to a real person on the other side of this chat? Can I trust? There's a lot of loss of trust.
Yeah.
And everyone's also racing right now to say, how do I build trust? And what I hear you saying is, if you use your data in a well-disciplined way, and you're very thoughtful and intentional about what you do with the data, you can actually use the data and AI to not erode trust, but to build trust.
AI is a tool that gives us efficiency and scale and speed, but that tool, like any tool, it can be wielded poorly.
Yep.
It can be used to create a large volume of random acts of marketing.
Okay, yes, that's true. We've all been guilty of that.
But the key is to use the data to be very precisely targeted, because the key to cutting through the noise is, if you present something to somebody that in the moment is solving a problem or a need that you think that they might have, the relevancy of it is what's going to resonate. It's not so it's not a volume game, and we hope we get some conversion,
Right.
because that's going to just have them tune uff from your brand,
Yep.
or worse, unsubscribe, so you can't reach them at
Yeah.
all, even when they are later then in market. Now you can no longer reach them. So use data to be more precise and to be more targeted, so that your conversion actually goes up because you're being more relevant.
Yeah.
And it's that relevancy that creates brand affinity. And of course, content becomes very critical, because this is all about who should we be talking to and when should we be talking to them. The last part of that three-legged stool is, and then what do we say to them?
Yes.
And that the what do we say to them part is also something that is, a lot of people have challenges with the data, and then they have challenges with the orchestration. If you are lucky enough to get those parts in order, even until recently with AI, the proper use of AI, if you wanted to, again, in a B2B world, if you wanted to really target your content to your top accounts in order, like I really, if I could land any accounts, I want to land these 50 accounts, then you would put in the effort to do custom messaging and custom content that was for like really targeted ABM, but that takes time, it takes effort, and it doesn't scale. Now with AI, when you do load in your product data sheets and your why buys and your competitive positioning, and you know the adjacencies, you understand the account, you know who the buyers are, you know who the personas are, you can manufacture, you can generate the content using large language models and using things like RAG, retrieval augmented generation, to create persona-specific and account-specific messaging that will resonate at scale. It doesn't have to be the top 50 anymore. It can be 1,000,
Wow.
and it's all relevant.
Yeah.
If you pick the right customers.
Right.
And again, that's where AI can help understand what the front office and back. You can't create decisions from the lack of data.
Yeah.
So if the data is there and if it's properly structured, you can use that to say, this is your target audience. This is why they're your target audience. These are the people you know that you need to influence. These are the influencers that you're missing, and you need to go out and find a way to engage them, maybe through LinkedIn campaigns or something like that.
You know, the funny thing is that the way you just outlined that, we think of AI as doing the thinking for us.
Yeah.
But actually, now that AI is doing some thinking, it's like it's created a multiple of how much thinking I need to do, because now I need to think about things just in a much bigger, much more scalable way than I ever have before.
Yeah,
it sounds like my brain's working harder, not less, because AI is here and it's helping me, and I'm actually like managing the all.
It doesn't. Well, I shouldn't say it doesn't, because I suppose you could philosophically debate this. But it doesn't remove the onus from an organization to have a strategy.
Yeah. Yep.
You can ask AI for a strategy, and it'll create one for you, because it's very good at following orders.
Yeah.
Whether it's a good strategy would remain to be seen. But what we found at Oracle, because we've been kind of executing this playbook for a couple years now, where we're trying to target the right customers with cross-sell, upsell, because they have the adjacent products, or because of where they are in their customer life cycle, and because of their size and whatnot. The data part we had to do a little bit manually. We had the data in Unity, and we could segment on it, and we could build those audiences, and we could figure out who they were. And sometimes we had to go get data from other silos that weren't yet in Unity. But then that part still took a couple weeks. And then you have to reach across the aisle to sales and say, by the way, do you agree with these offers that we're putting into the market, and that we're going to push this, we're going to cross-sell this product into this install base, and you should expect opportunities coming from marketing. And this is the program brief. This is why we're doing it. This is the collateral you could use. This is the conversation you can have with them. That people process alignment isn't always easy.
Yeah.
Sales may say, I don't care about what you think, marketing. This is where I think I'm going to retire my quota.
Okay.
So I'm going to go after this deal, even though you're trying to promote this product. So that sales and marketing alignment is also really critical.
Yeah.
And that's a bit of strategy that has to happen up front. And that's where the data in Unity can also help you align on that strategy. Here is a cohort that we should go after, because it is a very rich target market for us, and sales can agree on that, and marketing can agree on that, and then that helps ease that connection.
Yeah, I think that connection is huge. And then we started this conversation with you saying that Unity had moved into the Fusion stack. And I don't know if everybody in the audience caught what that means, but what it means to me, and you can tell me if it means something else, is by moving it into the Fusion stack, what else is there? Well, ERP is there, right? So I've got all of my accounting data, all of my supply chain data, right? All of my HCM data if I need that. So I have all these other pieces, and now that it's in one spot, I can connect to it a lot easier. So when I go to make a profile, in the old days, the dream in Eloqua, 10 years ago was, hey, if we can load some purchase history, we can start to say, like, if you bought the left-handed product, you're going to love the right-handed, or if you bought the bronze, you're going to love the silver,
Absolutely.
Right? That was like state of the art 10 or 15 years ago, right? When Oracle acquired Eloqua. But like now, this move means I know everything about the customer automatically,
Yeah, I mean, as you well know, a lot of our customers can be very sophisticated users of Eloqua. Probably one of the most common custom data objects is purchase history.
Right.
And there's a few others in that vein. But it tops out at a certain degree of scale.
Yeah, it tops out fast.
It tops out fast, and it is a many-to-one relationship, not a many-to-many relationship, and you can't do multiple jumps.
Yep.
So with Unity being in Fusion and being part of the Fusion applications and having access to the Fusion database, that means it does have access to the back office data.
Yeah.
It has access to inventory, it has access to contracts, it has access to service records, it has access to the product hierarchy, PIM data. So you can say, I want to cross-sell this XK Red Delta SKU to my install base in North America, and it knows what that SKU is, it knows where it is in the product hierarchy, and it knows what the adjacent products are. And if you have loaded product data sheets and so forth into the system as well, it can also use that, and this is what we showed in our CX keynote, to create a program brief that describes what the positioning should be and who the type of what the buyer group might look like. Is it probably in a consumer situation? Should we even promote this? Do we have the inventory in the data centers? Do we have the inventory in the store locations? Is it possible to promise this? Are we capable to promise this at a future time, or do we have a glut of inventory of something else that we should be promoting so that we can increase the inventory turns?
Yeah.
There's all kinds of non-traditional marketing use cases. I had a session earlier in the week where I asked the audience, how many people here are in a role where they think they impact their customer's experience? And maybe about half the room put up their hands. And I said, okay, either you're shy, or I would submit that anybody who didn't put up their hand is wrong.
Yeah.
Because if you are in supply chain, if you are in finance and working with billing, all of those things touch the customer, and all of them create an impression on the customer.
Absolutely.
And the data inside of Unity can be used to optimize every part of that journey, not just acquisition.
Absolutely. No, I agree with that. And I mean, it's funny because people think customer experience and they go to like the best customer experiences in the world, right? Disney or something like that. But that Disney moment of like the magic of you and your family going through the park and everything, that's one kind of customer experience, but that's not how most businesses operate, right?
Right.
And so getting an incorrect invoice is a huge customer experience for a lot of people in a lot of industries and other things. And yes, you're right, finance made that happen,
and how you deal with these things will happen, but how you deal with resolving it matters.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
So customer experience really does touch every part of the organization. And
like people love Amazon because they get stuff in Prime the next day.
Yeah.
But if they don't, they get annoyed.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
Or if a field service rep comes to fix something, and you told them on the phone that my furnace is broken, and I think it's the name's escaping me.
The doodad,
whatever it is. The part that senses the heat and knows when to turn it on or not.
The thermostat.
Like the actuator or whatever.
Okay, sure.
And the rep comes out and looks at it and says, "Oh yeah, you need a new doodad." It's like, I know I need a new dad. Well, I don't have one in the truck. I'm going to have to come back in 2 days.
I told you that. Yes, I know.
Like that's a bad, that could be a bad experience. And the other example there is, while I'm here, your this other thing that you own from us is due for service in a couple weeks. Why don't I just do that while I'm here?
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. that there is that great low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you've now given, 3 talks at the show here so far?
Yes.
Okay. And what's been the reception? What kinds of questions are people having with after hearing what you have to say?
Well, I mean, it is AI world, so
Yes.
obviously we're leaning heavily into that topic. I think people are a little, not, what's the right term here? We're innovating at such a fast pace now because of the underlying agentic capabilities of the Fusion Data Platform and AI Agent Studio. Because you can create these agents and give them personas and give them tools to use like APIs and capabilities and data science models, and we have the whole host of large language model capabilities that are available to query. And it is a drag and drop type of an interface that doesn't require somebody to be too technical to create these types of agents. It's accelerated our own internal development to an extent that people almost don't believe, like, I've never seen you create this much new functionality so quickly.
Yeah.
And it's almost like they don't believe it, and sometimes I don't believe that I'm demonstrating stuff that I have to tell the audience, I need to explain to you how this is working because it probably doesn't seem believable.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, so I've been a partner for 20 years now,
Yeah.
coming up on my 20th year of being an Oracle partner. And people always ask me, why do you partner with Oracle?
Yeah.
And my answer is really simple, which is go pull the latest 10K or 10Q and go look at the R&D number.
Yeah.
It's around right now, I think I haven't checked it recently, but it's like $6.5 billion.
Right.
And it's like 15% of revenue. And if you go look at any other tech company, not only do they not have 6.5 billion because they're nowhere near your size, but it's nowhere near 15% of revenue either. It's like 10 or 8 or 6. It's not. And so Oracle has this massive commitment to innovation, which is why I've always been a partner.
Yeah.
And because I'm betting on the long run, right? And what's really fascinating about this whole AI journey is it seems from the outside as a partner that all of you guys got in one room at like maybe 18 or 24 months ago and said, let's all pull in the AI direction and let's put all 6.5 billion on AI because that's what this is.
I know.
I mean, it's amazing what's happening.
I know you know very well, but maybe the whole audience doesn't necessarily appreciate that we are an infrastructure and an applications company.
Yep.
And we are soup to nuts. We run our own products on our own infrastructure, in our own data centers, on our own chips.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are vertically integrated.
We are
like
vertically
nobody
integrated.
else.
Obviously, we partner with NVIDIA and AMD and all the large.
You don't make your own
models.
power either, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
so.
we're getting into nuclear reactors.
Yeah, exactly.
The Abilene facility that we're building in Texas is massive.
Wow.
And that because being able to run the training and the inference and whatnot for those things is critical. But then that translates all the way up the stack to the applications. Mm-hmm. We are able to run this agentic studio and not charge extra for the already seeded agents. Delivered as part of the subscription, and not have to monetize it because we're running it ourselves. We're not leasing space in some other public cloud and having to pay a token price and having to pay for ingress and egress of data. So that's a huge benefit to our customers as well.
Absolutely.
But it really unlocks. We originally built the Agent Studio as a platform to accelerate our own development, but then we realized that this can also accelerate customer and partner development as well. And we launched a marketplace for Agent Studio this week.
Oh yeah. So talk to us about that. Let's talk about the marketplace real briefly, because I know we're running out of time, but I have like 20 more questions and I will hold them back, but let's go here first and then we'll move to wrap up. So what's going on with the marketplace?
Yeah, well, I mean, most people are obviously familiar with the concept of a marketplace.
Sure.
We've had a cloud marketplace for Oracle for a really long time.
Yep.
Aliqua on the marketing side has a really rich history of having hundreds of apps.
So many great apps.
That connect directly into and expose themselves directly in the application from a visual perspective. The Agent Studio takes us to a next level because it's not just your AI agent workflow platform like an N8N or a Zapier or something like that. It's much more profound than that. Okay. It has access again to all the business objects in Fusion, all the product APIs, a bunch of tools like a document tool, REST API tool, RAG tools, and so forth. That again, in a drag and drop fashion with very simple declarative natural language statements, you can link these things together in teams to say that your skill set is you know how to look up a service record, and say if its health is green, yellow, or red. That's a tool that's part of a workflow and part of a stack of tools. And then you can ask Unity any question and get back an answer. You understand contracts. You can read through a contract, and not just from an optical character recognition perspective, but you can read through a contract and understand if there's anything wrong with the contract. Are they allowed to have net 30-day terms or not? Things like that. So it's not just, here's a purchase order, let's evaluate it and turn that into a sales order, but fix any mistakes along the way. And you can put that thing together as a team so that when you're evaluating a new ordering document or something like that, you're immediately able to process it and create a sales order, resolve contractual issues, and understand, is this, are these the right terms to be giving somebody? That's all just built in. We are shipping like over 400 of these things ourselves, but a customer, a partner, has access to Agent Studio to go in and build those agents themselves.
Got it.
And that extends any custom use case you might have. You've got a third-party system, like a legacy system that you can't get rid of, but it at least has some APIs. You can write an interface to that system to communicate to it and expose it as an agent, as part of this platform. And suddenly you have connected it into your ecosystem. Through MCP, Model Context Protocol, you can connect everything you're doing in Agent Studio and everything you're doing in Fusion to the whole broader ecosystem of other third-party apps that are communicating with these new protocols.
So what that really means for an Oracle customer then is, if something like Motive, one of my companies, has construction and engineering experience, and we've got some really great agentic AI processes, we'll be able to put those processes in there and then offer them up as an industry solution that people can just take and plug and play and adapt to their own individual situations.
You can put it up as a shingle in the marketplace and say, we have this is a specific agent with this specific type of toolings, or a team of agents that work together, and we've already preceded the prompting, we've already fine-tuned it, it already has, it can, if you are hosting your own data science models, or if you want to host like a front-end application, you can actually front-end apps on top of Agent Studio, where you don't have to bind it. Like, this gets a little technical, but the UI doesn't have to be bound to APIs that are talking to a database. The UI runs on Agent Studio.
Nice.
And you can host that yourself, but use Agent Studio as the platform. It unlocks a lot of capabilities for our partners to take their IP, put that into the marketplace, and maybe even use it, frankly, as a loss leader to start relationships with the customers.
There's a lot of strategies that are going to emerge here, and it's going to be really exciting to see what happens. But it's now unlocked, and I think that is great it gives the choice to the customer, and it really makes the interactivity for partners pretty exciting. So I think that's pretty cool. So great. Stephen, if people want to follow you and learn about what you're up to and what your products are doing, Unity and some of the other things that you're doing, I don't know, we haven't talked about some of the marketing stuff you're doing, if you want to talk there, but we could touch on that really briefly.
There's so much going on, like I said, there's so much going on. But yeah, I mean, I'm easy to find on LinkedIn. Last name is Streich, Streich. So it was Stephen with a PH. Oracle, you'll find me pretty quickly. I tend to publish, like not all super often, but I do link to stuff there and talk about stuff there. So we brought Fusion, we brought Unity into Fusion. We've built new marketing orchestration channels directly into Unity on Fusion. So yes, we have Eloqua, yes, we have Responses, and we're continuing to invest in those products and support those products for our customers. We continue to use Eloqua at Oracle ourselves, but the proximity of having the ability to activate directly from the CDP when you want to make a split-second transaction, like if there's a real-time event that was triggered, or you've built an audience that is specific to, again, say a cross-sell example. We've built these new a buying group agent, program planning agent, program brief agent, and tactic recommendation agents that are all part of Unity, so that you can collapse the time it takes to create one of these. Like, I want to create a program brief, I want to create a marketing program for a cross-sell, upsell. That could take weeks of talking to many people historically. Now with with all the access to the data and with the tools that these agents have and with the purpose that they've been given, we've collapsed that whole process down to, I want to create this campaign for this product in this region. It can then go out, find the right target accounts that are going to be a good fit, are showing some intent, almost like it's doing a type of a BANT style evaluation from an agentic perspective. Give you the lists, allow you to ratify, show you the accounts, show you the buying group coverage, and then tell you what demand stage they're likely at. These are at awareness, these are at consideration, these are already, you should send these to sales already. They're like qualified opportunities.
Okay.
Interact, and that whole thing is automated through a guided process flow. So you can create and execute one of these programs in hours instead of weeks.
Wow. Yeah, it's a brave new world we're living in here. In fact, I was talking with one of my customers earlier today, and I said, back in 2024, if you mentioned AI, it was so risky and so out there that you could get fired, right? That's what they said to me, like, we will fire you if you even bring it up. And in 25, they've been like, hey, this is interesting. And now they've come to me and said, if we don't do something in 26, we'll be fired, right? So it's like, it's on. So
yeah.
It sounds like you guys have done some really amazing things. Stephen, thank you so much for being on Content Kingdom. This has been really, really outstanding. And we'd love to have you back to talk more about marketing orchestration.
No shortage of things to talk about.
Yeah, and so give Motive and Content Line some time to play with marketing orchestration in Unity, and I think we're going to be back with some cool in-depth questions.
We'd love to do it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you very much.
You're
Pleasure
welcome.
to be here.
Awesome.